For better or worse, Americans are known for having big appetites, and that fact is the inspiration for a Seattle-based photographer.
Here to explain how pictures of food became an artist's meal ticket is Terrell Brown. Good morning, Terrell.
Hey, Anthony, good morning. Christopher Boffoli earned a James Beard Award nomination in 2012 for a photograph in a collection called Big Appetites. The series takes an up-close look at the beauty of the world's bounty.
Food is very beautiful. I mean, food has great color and texture.
Christopher Boffoli's aesthetic is turning the edible into fine art. With the help of tiny figurines, Boffoli tells stories about the things we love to taste.
The elements of this work are essentially toys and food. Those components are two of the most common things in just about every culture in the world. So whether you eat with a fork or chopsticks or your fingers, you don't have to be American, you have to speak English to get this.
Boffoli's work has been seen in about 100 countries. The most recent collection in his Big Appetite series has been on display in New York. The photographs create savory worlds of food, like ice fishing on a frosty bagel with cream cheese, a lumberjack chopping scallions, a construction site of s'mores.
How do you pick which food and which figurines?
Well, from the start, I wanted the food to be real and edible. There's a lot of cheating in commercial food photography where things like, white glue stands in for milk and glass ice cubes stand in for real ice. I figured that I would just want to work with what's fresh, what's in season. So I'll generally just go to the farmer's market and see what looks good to me. I'll bring the food back and start formulating ideas about how to use it. I mean, it's not enough to take a figure and put it on a cupcake and call it a fine art image. You have to really think about the context, and I like to give the figures a destiny, treat them like characters.
Boffoli's inspiration came from a childhood of watching movies like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, and The Incredible Shrinking Woman.
When you're ready to come down off that soapbox, give me a call.
A modern concept, he says, that dates back to Gulliver's Travels in the 18th century.
I was mountain climbing on Mount Rainier, a 14,000-foot mountain in the Cascades.
You could say Boffoli's photography career began by accident. A severe ankle injury left him immobile on Mount Rainier in freezing temperatures. He nearly died waiting hours for rangers to climb by foot to rescue him. Boffoli later left a job in philanthropy and began experimenting with this concept. Years later, an editor in London discovered his work. Boffoli's photographs are now part of a new book, Big Appetites, Tiny People in a World of Big Food. The pictures all come with captions which Boffoli writes himself to add humor and social commentary on the kinds of foods we eat and how we consume them.
The caption for this one is that it's usually a lot easier to climb up than climb down.
It's the hardest part about this whole thing.
It can be tedious to set these up because the figures are very, very small, only about 20 millimeters high, about 3/4 of an inch. And in Seattle, where I live, it's a felony to not be caffeinated properly. So I'm often having to deal with, big shaking hands and tiny little people, and they're always falling over, they're always falling down.
Is it ever nerve-wracking?
It's very nerve-wracking, yes. But it's very rewarding to get a successful image that works, that collectors like and respond to, and that gets published. It's a great feeling.
So if you were just curious where those figurines come from, Boffoli, he orders them online. He'll often repaint or modify them. There's a huge variety that's available, from clergy to acrobats to firemen. Most of the time he does the picture first and then comes up with the funny or witty caption a little bit later on.
You can't help smile looking at these pictures.
No,
How long do they take?
It's really interesting when he explained it because it looks like a very arduous, long process, right? He says he does it right in his kitchen, uses some natural light. He says that's the hardest part, is getting the light so that you really, really see the picture. But if you think about it, he has to do it really, really fast. If we're talking about melting popsicles
real
or spilled milk, you don't have a lot of time to deal with stuff like that.
I used to work at Food and Wine magazine in my youth, and they used fake food. I mean, they used to use substitutes like he was talking about. So the fact that he's using the real thing is really interesting.
And forget interesting, I'm just hungry. Anybody want something to eat right now?
I wanted that cupcake. All right, Terrell Brown, thank you.